Our Father who art in heaven. So there is a question proposed that perhaps in order to make the church, the Christian church, more modern, we should have gender-neutral language when it comes to all these men depicted by the Bible, Emma Webb.
I've had enough of this. I've had it up to here with the Church of England and their nonsense. It's only a couple of days ago they were suggesting human composting instead of cremation so that they can reach their net zero targets. They've basically turned into an exceptionally woke corporate. They are woker than woke on so many things. And this is ultimately disrespectful. And it's not surprising because the church leadership has been repeatedly disrespectful to its own traditions, to its liturgy, to the scriptures, and to, you know, all the fundamental theological tenets and sacraments of the Christian church and Christian tradition. But on this, what they're suggesting is that the Liturgical Commission should take steps to include or to create more inclusive language within the liturgy. And so we would end up with this absurd situation where the Lord's Prayer, which was given to the church by Christ in, you know, when Christians in church pray this prayer, it's the words that our Lord has told us to speak. And the language of the Bible in its original is, of course, gendered. And so now we would be in this absurd situation where it's rather than saying our Father who art in heaven, we'd have to say our non-gendered parent. Or
well, and I don't think they've said what they would replace it with specifically, have they? But let me play devil's advocate here, rather appropriate in this conversation.
Entirely inappropriate, actually.
Well, yeah, probably, that's me. One of the reasons that I think one of the many reasons I'd say, but that I could never feel like I was raised as sort of Church of England, upbringing, church ministry, but one of the reasons why I couldn't, I think, identify with a church is because women don't do terribly well in the Bible. Like, Emma, you know a lot more than the Bible than I do. But women tend to be, you know, the virgin or the whore, right? In the Bible, there is a very clear stereotyping of women. Perhaps, one might say, Stephen Pound, the Bible, in order to not have fewer Christian people in this country, does need to move with the times, to be more gender inclusive. As I'm saying it, I'm not believing it myself.
Well, look, I mean, in many ways...
I'm trying, Emma, I'm trying.
I'm sorry, the Blessed Virgin Mary is one of the most important people in the Bible, most important people in the history of the world. Yeah. And we have Naomi, we have Ruth, we have Mary Magdalene, we have Mary of Magdala. There's plenty of other people in there. So, but look, I think the problem with this is, I mean, I don't know what the Pope's going to say because il Papa. You know, what on earth would the Pope then be? I think this is such nonsense, but there is one little smidgen of sanity in here. Some of the language we used to use the word men to describe men and women. We used to say, for example, in the Creed, in the Catholic Church, we say, for us men and for our salvation. Quite often we now say, for us people and for our salvation. I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
But to tie yourself into agonising knots